Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, the Laval, also known as Power To-Do List, back for you with another deck profile. And this is something that worked surprisingly well after its initial draft. It is another take on the Desperado Barrel Dragon or the Dark Machine deck with some Machinas thrown in there to make some more sturdy turn 1 setups. In general, during testing, I have noticed this deck grinds rather well. Played a game against a friend on Eldritch, and we really sat there for a while. But with all this out of the way, I think getting into the main deck with our 3 copies of Desperado Barrel Dragon is a good start. You can special summon this guy from your hand if a Dark Machine monster on your field gets destroyed. And during the battle phase, you can quick effect toss up to 3 coins, and for each time you throw a head, you can pop a monster your opponent controls. Or you can pop a monster on the field. If you went ahead and tossed 3 heads for your coins, you can go ahead and draw a card. But this guy cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. And also if he is sent to the graveyard in any way, shape or form, which is something I missed during testing initially, you can add a level 7 or lower monster from your deck to your hand that has a coin toss effect. And for those monsters, we are playing the following. We play a copy of Blowback Dragon. Got this really cool UR from Dire Reaper in a trade. It is essentially a smaller version. He's a level 6, and once per turn you can toss a coin 3 times, and if at least 2 of the results are heads, you can pop a card on the field, which is really nice, to be honest. So yeah, definitely makes some good follow-up to the big, mean Desperado Dragon. Then we played 2 of the small Twin Barrel Dragon. Cut down on a lot of the normal summonable Dark Machines in favor of some gadgets, but if this guy hits the field in any way, shape or form, toss a coin 2 times. If both are heads, you can pop a card on the field. Good removal, definitely helps the deck. So it is a really easy inclusion. And then I am playing 2 BM4 Blast Spiders. This is not only a really huge wall for a normal summonable body. 2200 defense on a level 4 is definitely strong. But also once per turn, you can target a Dark Machine monster you control and a monster your opponent controls, or a face-up card rather your opponent controls. Destroy both, and if a monster you control that was initially a Dark Machine destroys an opponent's monster by battle or card effect, you can deal damage to your opponent equal to the half of the base attack points of that monster. Helps you trigger your Desperado Barrel Dragon on your turn to get that on the field. And, is also a rather big Dark Machine that definitely helps the deck a lot. Next up, we are getting into the Machinas. We are playing a copy of Citadel. Can be special summoned from the grave if a Earth Machine gets destroyed on your field. Also is able to target a machine you control and blow up every monster your opponent controls with less attack than the targeted monster. Getting this onto your field turn 1 is one of your main goals. So you have that 3k Raigeki, I guess, in your opponent's turn to rather quickly simplify the game state. Alongside the Citadel, I'm also playing a copy of Fortress, just because I had the space and Fortress is rather good. You can special summon this by discarding from your hand, special summon this from hand or graveyard, by the way, by discarding machines from your hand that total level 8 or higher. If this guy gets destroyed by battle, you can target a card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if this guy gets targeted by a monster effect, you can rip a card out of your opponent's hand. So those are kind of the Machina bosses you want to run. I think once Burst of Destiny drops, you can definitely think about Machina Ruin Force, as that is a Dark Machine in this deck. Going further into the Machinas, we have 3 copies of Machina Posesstorage. I definitely think that the Machina version of the Desperado deck is probably the better one, as Posesstorage is a Dark Machine and gives you some rather neat effects. Because if this guy is normal or special, you can revive a Machina monster from your graveyard in defense position, but you cannot use its effects this turn. Sounds bad on paper, but honestly, if you are just, reviving Citadel on a follow-up turn or reviving Citadel turn 1, you will most likely only use the Citadel nuke on your opponent's turn, because on your turn you may be able to nuke with your Desperado Barrel Dragon. And yeah, so Posesstorage definitely helps. Also has a back row removal effect where you can target another Machina control, return it to hand, and a spell or trap your opponent controls. But mainly you want to use Posesstorage not only as a Dark Machine, but also as rank 4 fodder, and as a way to bring Citadel on your initial boards. A small Garnet in Unclaspare. If this card gets added to your hand by any means but drawing, special summon it, and if this guy hits the field, you can dump a Machina from deck to grave. Really good way to set up your Citadel for the grave, and also a neat way to grab a basically free body of your redeployment. As mentioned, I am playing a few gadgets to help with the very normal summon heavy just nature of the deck. Playing 2 gold and 2 silver. When these guys are summoned, they put another level 4 machine out of your hand onto the field, and if they get destroyed, they float into a level 4 gadget from your deck. But these are purely by preference. I just like having these for some additional rank 4 access, and also the swarming. As for our tuners, we are playing a rather old card in 3 copies of Black Salvo. If this guy's normal summoned, you can revive a level 4 machine dark monster from your graveyard in defense, but negate its effects. Enables you some rather cool Synchro plays. A Dark Strike Fighter and Samurai Destroyer are your big ones. So this is definitely a rather cool card for the deck that helps with your plays. Then I'm playing 1 unknown Synchron. If your opponent controls a monster and you do not, you can Cyber Dragon this onto the field, but this effect is once per duel. And yeah, this just helps you go into stuff like Ally of Justice Catastor or the super heavy Samurai Musashi. Yeah, then the named field spell Heavy Metal Raiders. First time each turn, a Dark Machine monster you control would be destroyed by battle. It is not destroyed, and if you took battle damage from that battle, the Dark Machine monster that battled gains attack equal to the damage you took. This boost is permanent as long as Heavy Metal Raiders remains on the field. And also, if a initially Dark Machine monster you control destroys a card your opponent controls, you can special summon another Dark Machine from your hand. Really cool. Works really well with the Proton Blast trap card once you are able to really start popping your opponent's monsters with your coin toss dragons. But this field spell definitely ties this deck together rather nicely. Playing in terms of power 1-off, we are playing Terraforming to grab our field spell. We are playing a copy of 1-for-1 to get our unknown Synchron out of the deck in fringe cases, and we are playing a copy of Monster Reborn to revive our big guys. Then, as mentioned, we are playing the small Machina package alongside 3 copies of Machina Redeployment. You can either discard a card, add 2 Machina monsters from deck to hand, or you discard a Machina card and add 2 Machina cards from deck to hand. In most cases, you will find yourself adding the Unclaspare alongside a copy of Posesstorage, as Unclaspare Posesstorage already makes you a Gigant X, is able to search your follow-up play, and the Unclaspare will dump a Citadel, and Posesstorage will be able to revive said Citadel on normal summon. So yeah, this is definitely still an absolutely amazing search spell that makes Machina such a cool archetype to experiment with. And yeah, in terms of the raw power, we are on 3 A Lot of Darkness. You're playing a lot of darks. Draw 2 cards, banish a dark. If you don't have a dark, send your entire hand to the graveyard. Simple as that. Next up, we are playing 2 copies, because I found 3 too bricky, of Foolish Burial Goods. You can send a spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard, but only use 1 Foolish Burial Goods per turn. The trap you want to dump the most times is Proton Blast. And mentioning the Proton Blast once brings out 3 more. Once per turn, if you activated an effect that tosses a number of coins, you can, after it resolves, apply one of the following effects, or apply the following effects depending on the number of heads. If you tossed 1 heads, you can burn your opponent for 500. If you tossed 2 heads, you can destroy a card your opponent controls. And if you tossed 3, you look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 of his cards to the graveyard. Also, while this is in the grave and an effect is activated that tosses 2 or more coins, you can banish it, and all results of that coin toss will be treated as heads. Really nice. Makes your Desperado Barrel Dragon essentially a mirror force on legs, as you can pop 3 monsters in the battle phase. and also easily enables you to get Twin Barrel and Blowback to pop cards. Really cool. Capping off the main deck is a singular copy of Machina Overdrive, just as another target for your Foolish Burial Goods if you don't need a Proton Blast in the graveyard. So you have the recycling ability, but also just as something you may be able to grab off your redeployment to access your Citadel. Because you can target a machine monster you control, summon a Machina monster from your deck with a different name, pop the monster you targeted on field, and, you know, summon a Machina, I guess. And also you can banish this from the graveyard to target 3 of your banished machines or that are in your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck to draw 1 card. Really cool card, love it. Definitely helps this deck in longer grind games. Talking about the extra deck, I think the more mandatory cards are up front. We are talking, of course, about 2 copies of Gear Gigant X, an absolutely amazing rank 4 that you can make with 2 level 4 machines, not 4. That once per turn lets you detach an Xyz material to add a level 4 or lower machine from your deck to your hand. Great card. You want to make this turn 1 or in most of your initial setups to be able to grab you follow-up play for the next turn and kind of start grinding away at the game. Second effect's gear related, so doesn't come up. And the most important part about this guy is that you can put a Drill Driver Vespenado on top of 1 if you mate him. Because you can also summon Drill Driver Vespenado by, you know, overlaying it on top of a rank 4 you already made. And yeah, in general, this guy just deals piercing, but the most important part is that he is bigger than Gear Gigant X, and also he floats. He is able to revive a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. And considering your initial setups, as I mentioned, want to consist of, you know, you searching Posesstorage Unclaspare, dumping Citadel, getting Citadel on the board. So you can revive Vespenado, and if you used, you can revive the Posesstorage of Vespenado, revive Citadel, and have that at the ready again. Then, you know, the usual rank 4 shenanigans. We are playing a small Utopia package to take care of bigger monsters, a Castle, a Tornado Dragon. Could be any rank 4s you like. You could also run more rank 4s in this deck, as, you know, that's kind of the focus of it at the moment, especially with the added gadgets. But yeah, going into our surprisingly big Synchro lineup, we are playing a copy of Darkstrike Fighter. This is the biggest level 7 Dark Machine you can make, with Black Salvo, which kind of makes it a really good card in this deck, even if, you know, you won't be burning someone to death with it. Next up, a Samurai Destroyer, also a really cool Synchro 7 you can make with your Black Salvo. Negates a card of opponent's card effects when he attacks, and also if he is destroyed by battle, if he is destroyed by a card effect, you can revive a machine from your graveyard. Really cool effect, gives you some more floating and more abilities to follow up on your opponent's plays. Then we are playing some level 5s. A Catasta for the dark side, because at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a face-up non-dark, you can destroy that monster. Surprisingly cool in this deck, and makes kind of Catastor this really huge throwback to a simpler time. For the Earth side, we are playing a super heavy Samurai Swordmaster Musashi. If this guy's Synchro summoned, you can add a machine from grave to hand. And if you had a spell or trap in grave while you activated this effect, you are not able to use the effect of that machine or normal or special summon it. But in general, you know, he's a 2300 body that is also Earth, so he has some synergy on the Citadel side. Capping off kind of, you know, an Excel Synchron and a Vermilion Dragon Mech, just, you know, as some options. These could probably also be rank 4s if you want to. Excel Synchron is just a level 5 Synchro that helps you get into Vermilion Dragon Mech. Vermilion Dragon Mech is able to banish a tuner from your graveyard to pop a card on the field. And also, if he is struck by card effect, you can retrieve one of your banished tuners, which is kind of nice. But as mentioned before, these could also be additional rank 4s. Capping off the extra deck are some fuelings, Platinum Gadget for some extensions, as you make this easily with 2 machines, and this is also able to float in some of your main deck gadgets. Summons a level 4 or lower machine from your hand to a zone he points to, and also a barricade blocker, just to have this. This could probably also be another rank 4, but this gives you a link to dark option in case you need it. A link to dark machine option, I would need to stress here. But yeah, this was a initial draft that performed rather well in testing. I really liked it. Initial setups proved maybe not necessarily strong, but definitely able to produce follow-up play on the coming turns. And yeah, with all this out of the way, funnily enough, I think I noticed the start of this week that this profile is going up on my birthday exactly. So, you know, happy birthday to me, I guess. But yeah, really cool deck. Love the Desperado Barrel Dragon still. Would love to be able to play this in more decks. As it is a really cool card Gigant X keeps carrying, and the Machinas keep nuking fields and being just a very consistent engine that helps machine decks all around. But yeah, with everything out of the way, I will, want to know, what do you think? Leave it in the comments down below. And with everything now out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.